Good afternoon, everybody. This is Miss Jill Louise Starr, and I want to discuss way back in the early 1990s when Richard Holbrooke giving weapons and military support and training to the Bosnian Muslims and the Croat-Bosnian Civil War, in which the three sides, the Roman Catholic Croats, the Orthodox Christian Serbs, and the Bosniak Muslims, which was a group of radical Muslims, basically, that lived in warring during the Bosnian War, if you don't know much about it. In fact, while Bill Clinton out military money and weapons to the Croats during the Bosnian War, and Muslims, in which Richard Holbrooke met numerous times, which is well-known articles in the New York Times. I bet you didn't know that Osama bin Laden visited Bosnian President Elijah Izetbegovic in 1993 and 1994. In fact, Osama bin Laden, President Elijah Izetbegovic of Bosnia, who was a Muslim, during the Bosnian War, he could monetarily that many mujahideen fighters from various Arabic countries to fight on the Muslim side. This comes from, you could check this out in an article that was written in the New York Times on October 20th. The president of Izetbegovic, president of Bosnia in 1993, also gave Osama bin Laden a passport that same year, which as a gesture of his appreciation for the money that you can see this in a book on this in a disclosed, declassified report in 1993. In 1996, there's a CIA report which concluded us visit the Balkans in 1993, as I just stated. Though the report does not definitely state that Osama Bosnia, it said he did go through the Balkans. And I can tell you, when I was working in the Bosnian missions in New York City as an assistant to the first assistant Secretary Darko Trifinovic, a Serbian, at that time, when there were Al-Qaeda agents working there with us, the one Al-Qaeda, Mr. Seyfet Kalovic, the person who I spoke of many times, and I will post his picture at the end of this, the Bosnian mission, who Darko, before 9/11, Darko and I tried to tell the U.S. State Department that he was an international arms trader for Al-Qaeda, and you've got an agent working openly at the Bosnian mission, and nobody would listen to Darko and I because the Kosovo War was happening in 1990, and we were just merely dismissed as Kosovo nationalists or part of the Slobodan Milosevic's propaganda mission that something bad was going to happen, and it did when 9/11 occurred, because Bill Clinton's presidential administration confirmed the warnings that the Republika Srpska, the Serbian part of Bosnia's government, kept trying to tell the United States and the U.S. State Department because of the war against Slobodan Milosevic himself. That's why I think 9/11 could have been prevented if the warnings from Serbia and Darko Trifinovic and me were adhered to the United States mission to the United Nations in New York. There were Al-Qaeda agents working openly right before 9/11 in the Bosnian mission, and the false to that. Then, after 9/11, the United States get a confession from the Al-Qaeda agent that was working at the Bosnian mission in Italy in 1993. Yes, he did. When he was there in diplomatic capacity, he did give Osama bin Laden a passport to go to Bosnia, Italy, and two, he was an international arms trader, and he was thrown out of the country immediately immediately post 9/11, get out and never come back in diplomatic terms. I'm just wanted to, I was looking for description, who exactly Mr. Kalovic was, the person referring to you was working at the Bosnian mission, and I'm going to pull that up now because I think it's important. Let's see. Anyway, while I look for that information, for the last 10 years, you know why the most senior leaders, of Al-Qaeda, it has been no secret that the most senior leaders al-Zahawi, Osama bin Laden himself, said that this with the Balkans numerous over the last 10 years, over 10 to 20 times they visited the Balkans. The president of Bosnia, the U.S. was supporting President Izetbegovic in Bosnia in 1993, sitting there with Osama bin Laden. Everybody claims, oh, we can't find him. We can't find him. I'd like to know why Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, finally kills him this year. I've always found it difficult to believe, George Bush and Bill Clinton find Osama bin Laden when he's running all over Bosnia, openly, and everyone else is taking pictures of him. He was supporting him and his friends, like Izetbegovic, the president of Bosnia in 1993, and fighting against the Serbs, who should have been the U.S. allies, because the Serbs always were against terrorism, and they were always against Nazi fascism. In fact, Mein Kampf, the book written by Adolf Hitler, was in Croatia, who was always allies, along with the Vatican, of the Nazis in World War II. The Serbs were the only country in the Balkans that fought decades. It's able to find, hunt, and kill Osama bin Laden. Finally, there's a lot of credit. He does deserve to be reelected for taking down Osama bin Laden. When the other presidents didn't know where he was, you can prove that beyond any reasonable doubt. You could see more of that on my blog and on the Bare Naked Islam website, which I endorse. And the Bosnian embassy in Vienna issued a passport to bin Laden in 1993. The reports at the embassy, and there are also the reports in the Yugoslav press at that time, because they were supposed to be, quote unquote, part of the Slobodan Milošević propaganda machine. But they were true reports. In 1997, Osama bin Laden was giving money and supporting the Mujahideen and the Kosovo Liberation Islam in Kosovo, which was printed in Tanjug newspaper. And I remember right after the Kosovo War started, when I tried to report that information, it was ignored, and as also being part of, quote, the Slobodan Milošević's propaganda machine by the Central Administration. I wonder what Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, has to say about that. Why did you ignore knowing where Osama bin Laden was all these years, Hillary Clinton, when he was all over the Balkans and in Kosovo? I don't think she deserves to be Secretary of State at all. She's a disgrace to the nation. There are also many reports that bin Laden was visiting various terror camps. He was also promoting in the Balkans in 1994. Although the Muslim entity, the Bosnian government, is a rotating presidency, which each of the warring parties is present in every certain years. There's a Croatian president, there's a Muslim president, and there's a Serb president, and they rotate. The Bosnian Muslim government denies all of this in Bosnia, but does admit that passport records that do indicate that Osama bin Laden was issued these passports, but those records have been lost since that time, and that the Bosnian government does not deny that Osama bin Laden did direct al-Qaeda's senior commanders to incorporate in the Balkans and to help prop up the Mujahideen to fight against the Serbs at that time. Al-Zawahiri, the Egyptian surgeon, reputed to be the second in command before he was killed, the second in command of the al-Qaeda network, also was openly in Bosnia, helping the Muslims that we were arming against the Serbs during the Bosnian War, which is also disgraceful. By 1994, there was a major Balkan terrorist training network in Zenica, Malcevo, Mitrovica in Kosovo, and all throughout the Balkans. I don't know why the news and CNN doesn't report it, but it certainly is all up on my website. Pictures, places, and things. Kosovo has become a breeding ground for Al-Qaeda, and there's Al-Qaeda training groups in Bosnia. There's cells, there's agents. In fact, a year ago or so, the Serbian police stopped the United States embassy from being bombed by Mujahideen in Bosnia. I'm going to continue with this a little later, but I thought this was important to discuss. Hi, I'm back. You probably are asking yourself, why should we take your word for it, Jill? How can you prove that Osama bin Laden was walking around Bosnia openly for the past 10 years, and it seems only you know it? Other people know it too. In fact, I'm going to post a picture of a Der Spiegel German reporter. In 1994, she actually met with Osama bin Laden repeatedly, and her name is Renata Flo. My Italian is not very good, and my German certainly is worse. Renata Flatau. Renata Flatau is a reporter for Der Spiegel, which is a German syndication newspaper. And their reporter, Renata, claimed that she met Osama bin Laden in Bosnia numerous times, and when she was in a waiting room of Bosnian Muslim President Alija Izetbegovic. So you don't just have to listen to me. She can also tell you that during the time Bill Clinton was giving Izetbegovic tons of money and military support and your tax dollars, here's Osama bin Laden meeting with Izetbegovic, the president of Bosnia too, who is allowing him to prop up and construct Al-Qaeda training camps all over Bosnia. In fact, I'm going to, give you all over my website, you could see that my friend Darko, who's on the anti-terror squad now, who I used to work with at the Bosnian mission as an assistant, he investigates Al-Qaeda all the time. He's an expert in counterterrorism, and he has all kinds of pictures on the Osama bin Laden training groups that Osama bin Laden financed during that time through the blessing of Bosnian President Izetbegovic. So why Bill Clinton, why was everyone so against the Serbs if the CIA knew that President Izetbegovic, a Muslim, was meeting with Osama bin Laden? Because other reporters saw it happening. It was reported all over the world, but the United States press, everyone says we have the most democratic press in the world, but these stories were not in the United States press, and usually people that work every day, like most American citizens, don't have time, like I do, to read the German news, or to read the Yugoslav news, Tanju, Der Spiegel, Le Monde, the French press, diplomatic press, and CNN doesn't report these things to you. You should be very, very angry that your tax dollars was going to support Osama bin Laden's buddies in the Balkans during the Bosnian War. And Bill Clinton was telling you, the people of America, that the Serbs were bad guys. No, they weren't. They were the only good guys that always fought against the Nazis, against the Vatican, that killed the Jews during World War II. My friend Barry Latucci started the Sentiment Research Institute, and a lawsuit against the Vatican for killing Jews during World War II and taking the gold out of their teeth and melting it down. Hitler said he had three enemies: Jews, Serbs, and Roma, and also homosexuals and disabled people. But Croatia was on this, was that Croatia a fascist Nazi state, and the Bosnian Muslims and most of the what we call the Middle East, the Muslims in all over the Middle East, who were also allies with the Nazis during World War II, and were fascist. So why do we have an American president bombing the former Yugoslavia and helping fascists in Croatia to kill Serbs and Bosnian Muslims, which are being propped up and financed by Osama bin Laden in Bosnia and Kosovo? The KLA also got cozy. Richard Holbrooke got cozy with Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda agents down there. I have photos I'm going to post. Why we were helping fascists and terrorist when we should have been helping the Serbs, and that's the bottom line. And the point I wanted to make today and to prove to the world and to disgrace, it's a disgrace to Bill Clinton, who certainly should be very proud of his actions during the president. Like I said, I'm not going to give out the source, but I was told by a source that Bill Clinton was obtained oral sex by Miss Monica Lewinsky during the time he was having a phone call about bombing parts of Belgrade during the Kosovo crisis in 1999. Now, I really don't care about his sex life, but I really don't think he should be having oral sex while he is discussing bombing my friends in Serbia. It's disgusting.